G'day guys, it's the 3rd of October 2025. Today is the peak day of the current high energy period, runs from the 1st to the 3rd. So during this period we've seen the focus of rain across the southeast, which we're expecting that frontal system to persist across those regions. Focus rains being generally across western Tasmania, with some good falls across the far southeast of South Australia and parts of southwestern Victoria, but generally patchy elsewhere. There's been a few patchy storms through central inland Victoria, but nothing really exciting. There's a weak northwest flow building in the northwest. This will be that pre-seed for those storms to build from around week 2 into mid-month for that major cycle. And following this front as it moves out into the Tasman is the next front that crosses into Western Australia. So we'll see that northwest flow coupled with this front. We'll see storms and showers building from the Pilbara south through the Gascoyne in through the Wheatbelt goldfields to the southeast of Western Australia. Some flow and moisture will build into South Australia, but generally drying into the central interior. Ahead of this will be high temperatures. So high temperatures are already building through southern Western Australia today. They will lead the front into West and into South Australia and the southeast. So expect high temperatures into at least Sunday. Ahead of this change, high fire dangers, particularly through New South Wales. So we might start seeing some early fire weather actual impacts through New South Wales itself and possibly parts of northern Victoria. So just be aware of that. And then later in next week, we'll see a bit of a coastal trough build up in far north Queensland, which will help enhance the first good storm period for the Cape. Generally patchy though. The models aren't really confident on distribution, but there will be some activity there. But for now, we're looking at this moisture that's building through the far northwest, as this will be our little precursory signal to mid-October. So this is the GFS. Again, I don't like using the GFS too much, but moving a bit further past 5 to 7 days, it does show the trends that I'm particularly looking for. So what we're looking for again is storms to build up here in the northwest, a front to move in through the Bight and pull storms in from around the top end through most of the east. So this is generally from around mid-month, specifically 11th to the 17th should be the key window. So if we click through this is just to see the progression of the current system moves through Western Australia from the 5th, which clears out generally by around week 2. Then we should see storms starting to build up around the top end, moving into week 2. Those storms will thicken through the western interior, sort of like they're doing here. Wouldn't pay too much attention to this rain band through western New South Wales or South Australia. But what we'll see is those storms are beginning to build through the interior. These storms in the east are likely to form probably a bit later in this period, towards at least closer to mid-month rather than this early in the period. But generally this is that northwest to southeast flow that should begin to build across the interior, moving into the southeast by the 17th. So you can see there's parts of the puzzle are starting to line up, and we can go to different model runs and there are similar features of the same thing to different degrees. There's a bit of a coastal trough that'll form up in the northern Coral Sea. The GFS is renowned for presenting cyclones when they don't form. So if you see any cyclone talk online, just delete it. It's not going to happen. So it'll be a coastal trough that enhances storms across the peninsula, but there won't be any tropical low, not at this stage in the season. The first tropical low should be for the Pilbara in December, so don't pay attention to that. So this is more likely what we'll see. Patchy storms through the interior building into the southeast towards mid-month. So we expect these two cloud bands to link up and storms to extend right through Western Queensland into Eastern Queensland, as well as New South Wales, Victoria and parts of South Australia. Just note, while we have this strong low, this upper low needs to really shift up into Western New South Wales for its greatest effect to pull moisture in from the Coral Sea. If it stays further south, it will limit its moisture potential because it'll be too far south. Ideally, it'll push up through Western New South Wales, which is what I have this progression up through here. And this is that storm corridor that's been active over the last month or so as well. So it should follow that. And if it does, and seeing that we have this trough building up in the northeast, this will be the funnel for the moisture. So if these two can connect through the atmosphere, that's where your moisture will build and give us the greatest option of rain. Note there's no rain coming from the IOD still, so just discard that till probably November. But generally this is the weather feature that we're looking for. So we want to see moisture from the Coral Sea get fed into this southern frontal system and broad inland trough that extends from the Kimberley through the Territory, Queensland, parts of South Australia, New South Wales and Victoria. Again, storms won't be as active as they could be should the oceanic drivers that are present were functional. So we'll probably see below average rainfall still for the month of October, with pockets of above average rain where the severe storms form. I wouldn't pay too much attention to accumulated precipitation because with thunderstorms, these will change dramatically, within a day of the forecast. So generally we should see this widespread activity building into the second half of October. And essentially, if this Coral Sea trough can feed into it, these totals should increase fairly well. So that's a good sign we have this trough, because it's really needed to inject moisture in ahead of this frontal system and low pressure feature through the southern interior. Yeah, so that's about it. There's not really much other support for this yet. We're still just on the limits. The ECMWF starting to show that frontal system building towards mid-month, so that's good. It's in the right spot. It should move up to the northeast. Again, that's it there. So I expect we should see some real advancements and developments with models in the next few days. So by early next week, we should have some good confidence building. But yeah, we're just sort of just outside that window still. Unfortunately, that's the limitations of computer models. And again, that's why I've invented my system, try and give you a bit of foresight on what should come, and so you can build the puzzle yourself. The access, same thing. It's got the front. It's further south though, but it's also got the storms through the western interior. So again, there are features there, and it brings that low up through South Australia, which is where we want to see it. So again, there are some similarities depending on how you view it. So where this angle of these two fronts, well, they're probably not going to occur, but that's generally the trajectory they'll follow up through into western New South Wales. So yeah, the access is, again, its rainfall signals are still quite low. But should that Coral Sea feature, which is trending across all models, should it inject into the interior, that's the key component to look for. So that's about it. Quick look at temperature. So ahead of the front in the west that's building today, we'll have some high temperatures, and they'll shift across the southern interior into the east. So we'll have a hot northwesterly, limited rainfall, generally just heat. And that's something that's in the week 1 map. If you have a look at that, it's generally a fire weather period from the northwest into the southeast. And if you follow this heat progression, you can see it's a clear northwest flow. So we'll see fire dangers into western New South Wales, northwest Victoria. So grass fires are high potential there ahead of the change. There'll be some gusty winds too. So just have your fire kits ready if you're in those regions, anywhere from eastern Western Australia, across the interior South Australia, right through New South Wales, Victoria, and possibly parts of southern Queensland. And then that heat returns again into mid next week through the Channel Country, the Alice Springs, northwest pastorals, and northern New South Wales into eastern New South Wales. So just be aware of that. We are moving into that prime fire season, and this will be the feature moving into the next year. Fire, not rain. It's quite the opposite of what the forecasts have been. By now you should be aware of that. So start planning for heat rather than floods. Cheers.